and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This Friday evening update video is initially a preview of Sunday lunchtime's Scottish Premiership game against Aberdeen. Also going to touch on a Celtic player extending his contract to June 2029. One or two wee bits of transfer speculation, a wee brief profile of a player that Celtic are said to be looking at signing, potentially to be cover for Kieran Tierney at left back, and also one or two wee reflections on Brendan Rodgers' Friday afternoon press conference. So starting off with preview of the game against Aberdeen on Sunday. Kickoff will be at 12:30. Games away from home at Pittodrie, and the game will be live on Sky Sports. And I think, given Aberdeen's pretty poor performance against Hearts on Monday, I think Celtic should be looking to go to Pittodrie and get a nice morale boosting victory, keep us top, equal, or better in the table. In terms of starting 11, I think Rodgers will stick pretty much to the same starting 11 as he used against St Mirren last Sunday, although I do see a change at the right wing position with Forrest coming in for Yang. So my predicted team for Sunday afternoon's game is Kasper Schmeichel in goals, Alistair Johnston at right back, centre backs Carter Vickers and Liam Scales, Kieran Tierney back in at left back. Midfield, I think again will be Kyle McGregor, Benjamin Negrin and Rio Hatate. As I was saying, James Forrest out on the right, Adam Obert through the middle, and Dyson Maida on the left. As I said in yesterday evening's live stream, I would love to see Rodgers using Negrin out wide on the right. I think his pace, creativity, goal scoring ability, crossing ability, all would really take advantage of a potentially weak position in the Aberdeen backline. However, I think Rodgers will stick to type and stick to his guns and his usual rather stubborn way of managing teams tactically, keeping Engels and McCowan and Paulo Bernardo on the bench, and I think swapping Forrest in for Yang. Forrest made a big difference when he came on for the last half hour or so. I think he'll give Adam Ida another go to lead the line, although I do hope he does introduce Shin Yamada early on in this game, maybe with half an hour to go, or even a change at half time if things are not going to plan at that time. In terms of a predicted score for Sunday afternoon's game, I'm going for Celtic to get a nice comfortable 2-0 win. I just do think Celtic will have too much firepower, all things considered, with our midfielders and our wide players and Adam Ida. And I think once Adam Ida gets one goal, he'll get a series of goals, which has tended to be the pattern with him in the past. Looking at some of the stats of the Celtic Aberdeen fixture over the years, in the last 65 Celtic Aberdeen games, Celtic have an amazing 52 wins, 8 draws, and just 5 defeats. Celtic are unbeaten in the last 31 Celtic Aberdeen games that have gone to regulation time, which obviously excludes us losing on penalties to Aberdeen in the Cup final back in May. That game at regulation time was 1-1. And over those 31 unbeaten in regulation time against Aberdeen, 24 wins, 7 draws. And the last time Aberdeen beat us in regulation times was 1-0 in the last game of the season in 2018. Celtic are unbeaten in 17 away games against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, with 14 wins and 3 draws over that time, and the last defeat to Aberdeen at Pittodrie was back in February 2016. Another very interesting stat that I read earlier today is that from the start of season 24-25 to current times, Celtic have the best rate of scoring in the last 5 minutes of a game, doing so 16 times over that period, and that goal in the last 5 minutes, giving Celtic a win on two occasions and a draw on two other occasions. So it does kind of reinforce the Ange Postecoglou saying of "we never stop." And Ange Postecoglou certainly preached playing as hard as you can from the first whistle to the last whistle, and even under Brendan Rodgers, that seems to be the ongoing ethos and team spirit at Celtic. And with us having quite a number of important games coming up, hopefully we get through the game injury free, and also all the players who have been maybe lacking a wee bit of match sharpness getting back to full match sharpness. Next game after the Aberdeen game will be against Falkirk on Friday the 15th. That's going to be live on TV as well. Then the following Wednesday we'll have our playoff round Champions League qualifier against either Slovan Bratislava or Karat Almaty. Brendan Rodgers in his press conference was confirming that Celtic are not going to postpone the Livingston match on Saturday the 23rd. I think Rodgers is keen to give all of his squad a good run out prior to the vital second leg against Almaty or Slovan Bratislava. That's going to be on the Tuesday, the 26th of August. And then, of course, the first Glasgow derby of the season is on the following Sunday, on Sunday the 31st. So you can see we've got quite a number of big games coming up over the next 3-4 weeks or so. Plus, over that period, we'll be seeing the transfer window coming to an end as well. And hopefully, over those 3 weeks still to go in the transfer window, we'll add a few more players, particularly in the wide positions and maybe at left back. As of late Friday afternoon, there's not been any progress in terms of signing any of Celtic's wide player targets. Nothing further on Jacob Broom from Go Ahead Eagles, Michel Onge Barlaquisha from Royal Antwerp, or Clement Bischoff from Brøndby, or any other wide players, or any other players for that matter. One player that Celtic are said to be looking at, scouting, maybe even making negotiations and bid for is a young Slovakian centre back who also plays left back, player called Adam Obert. 6 foot tall, 6'2" tall, is a Slovakian full international with 11 full international caps for Slovakia. Also has been a star of the Slovakian under-21 side. Currently playing for Cagliari in Italy. He joined them in January 2021 on a free transfer from Sampdoria. Adam Obert at Cagliari is still under contract with them until June 2029. According to most transfer valuation sites, they have him down as a £2.6 million player. There are stories saying that Celtic have bid £3 million for him. However, Cagliari are said to be holding out for a £6 million fee. And at the moment, Celtic do not appear to have gone back to Cagliari with a new offer. And there is some uncertainty as to whether Celtic are going to prioritise another centre-back who can play left-back. Looking at his career at Cagliari, Obert has played centre-back 36 times for them, 28 times as a left-back and 6 times as a central midfielder. And it is thought that Celtic are looking at him primarily as a left-back. At Cagliari, he has played 86 games with 1 goal, 4 assists, 7 yellow cards and 1 red card over that time at Cagliari. Also played under 17, under 19 and reserve team football at Cagliari and at Sampdoria previously as well. And has recently played quite a number of games for both the under-21 side and the full international side at Slovakia, and so is obviously a pretty high-quality player. At 22, still a young player as well, so has potential to get better and better. And there is actually very little video highlight evidence of him. It's primarily him scoring a couple of goals and some lovely long passes, and nothing much in the way of his defensive abilities. And for that reason, I haven't included any video highlights. However, looking at his stats, he has remarkably good passing stats, 94% overall accuracy, 87% accuracy in opponent's half, long pass accuracy at 60%. All of those are very, very impressive stats. He gives away possession on a low number of times a game at just 5.33. Very good ratings for things such as winning the ball in the air, winning the ball on the ground. Also, his tackling, his interceptions, his clearances, his in defensive blocks, and also for a left back stroke centre back, very good. Dribbling accurate, dribbling success at 67%, and so he does actually look like a player who could really fit into Celtic. A player comfortable bringing the ball at defence. If he's playing at centre back, a player who is good at passing and finding teammates and releasing long balls over the top. However, at this time, it looks like Celtic have not gone back in for Obert, and maybe having recently got Jemai Simpson-Puzzi on loan from Man City, and considering potentially using Scales, Trusty, and Inamura as backups to Tierney at left back, it may be that we're not going to go in for him. But one never knows quite what's happening with Celtic's transfer policy at the moment. Some other news coming out of Celtic today is that Johnny Kenny has signed a new contract at Celtic. It's a 5-year deal, keeping him at the club until June 2029. Some speculation as to whether that was a way of sending Johnny Kenny out on loan again to maybe a Scottish club or one of the Central European leagues. Not certain at this point whether Johnny Kenny or Callum Osmond are going to be the number 3 striker at Celtic. I personally would go with Callum Osmond. I think he's a better all-around player, better finisher, a lot more pace. And I think actually Callum Osmond in the long run is going to be a much better player than Johnny Kenny, although Johnny Kenny does have that greater level of first-team experience away on loan in Shamrock Rovers, and a brief spell at Queen's Park on loan as well. So it will be interesting over the next 2 or 3 weeks to see whether Johnny Kenny stays at the club or whether he's sent out on loan to another Scottish club or a club in another league. Last wee thing to talk about in this Friday afternoon video is just a wee reflection on Brendan Rodgers' Friday afternoon press conference. He was much more positive in his attitude, much more positive about the players, the squad. He kind of avoided and ignored and all the questions regarding transfers, ins and outs, tried to play down any possible hint of any kind of antagonism or battle with the board. He said he was working with the players that he's got. The players that he's got are very good, and his job was to do the best with the players he's got, make them into better and better players, get them playing at their best as a team, and the club were doing their absolute hardest with the scouting team, the recruiting team, etc., to bring in the new players that he wants to add to the squad. But this time, unlike last week, he was much more positive, much more praising his players, much more saying that there's a lot of quality at the club, but they are looking to get more depth in some positions and some upgrades and improvements in some other positions, which was good. The only wee time that Rodgers let his mask slip and got quite grumpy and rude was when a reporter at the end challenged him over the fact that Shin Yamada hadn't been brought on against St Mirren, when a lot of fans, including me and many of yourselves, who fed back to me through the comment section, were surprised that Shin Yamada didn't get brought on, and instead Johnny Kenny got brought on. Brendan Rodgers kind of got a bit bristly and offended by that and didn't deal, I think, very well with that question. I think Shin Yamada would have actually done very well in the last 10, 15 minutes against St Mirren. I think his much greater pace, his ability to drive at defenders, and his quick reactions and quick, very good striker skills in the box would actually have been very useful in conjunction with players like Dyson Maida and Forrest delivering the ball from out wide, or players like McCowan or McGregor or Negrin, etc., delivering the ball through the defence. That just about finishes things off for the Friday afternoon video. As we go, just a wee suggestion, encouragement for those not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscriber button. And do feel free to pop your own thoughts, comments, opinions into the comment section for a nice wee chat and debate amongst like-minded Celtic fans. And I'd also just at this point like to thank everybody who participated in the Thursday evening live stream. I had a great time. Lots of people contributed, made comments, and we had a nice wee chat and debate. And I am planning a regular 9 p.m. slot for Thursday live streams for the next several weeks. And so do feel free to join the live stream next Thursday evening, when we'll be having a wee look at the Aberdeen game, a wee look ahead to the Falkirk game the next day, and also hopefully reflecting on a few players coming in or about to come in to add more quality and depth to our squad. Planning to do a wee post-match review of the Aberdeen game, possibly early Sunday evening or sometime on Monday, and fully expect to be reviewing and reflecting upon a good Celtic performance and a nice, comfortable, morale-boosting, team spirit-boosting victory. So until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.